Hi, John.
All right, I'm turning it on. So, call to order. This is the February 17th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Short message I need to read to everyone here. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Easthampton Parks and Recreation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by accessing the Zoom link in the agenda. We will post a record of this meeting on the Easthampton Media website as soon as we are able. Easthampton would like to remind everyone to wear your masks and practice safe social distancing. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. Nobody here for public speak, so we can move right on in to park policies upcoming year. Does everybody have them? Is it helpful if I share the screen with them, or do you guys need that, or do you have them in front of you?
I do have them, Paul. I think it might be helpful to share screens when we're talking about certain sections, just for everyone to.
Okay. Yeah, that's good for the.
And for those watching in TV land, just so they know what we're talking about.
All right. So, who do we get here with 9263 number?
Ooh, look at the book. I think that's Ron's home number.
New one. Ron, you are muted if that's you. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
That's better.
Great.
Yeah, the cell phone I couldn't hear you guys at all, so.
That's better. It's a better sound for us.
That's Ron.
Good.
Okay, so Ron, we're going to go into talking about the park policies that were included in the packet. There were quite a few. I hope you guys got a chance to look them over.
It was like reading a book. I fell asleep even.
With several chapters.
Right.
All right, so I'm just going to open up a random one, and we'll start with this one. This is the
Donation policies and fees.
Yep. Great. So I looked this one over, John. It looked like it was similar to what we had last year.
There's no changes whatsoever in any of those.
Okay.
Of the ones that were given, they're all exactly the same. I just think it's important to, especially when it comes to the policies and the fees, to make sure they're reviewed on an annual basis. The agreements and some of the forms, those aren't so important to review, but just make sure if anybody has questions, you're out in the public or whatever, and people ask about what's the policy on this, that, and the other, you guys all have copies of it in your files, and you vote on them yearly, so I can add that they were approved on such and such a date.
Excellent.
But I do have one quick question in regards to that, John, and I'm just wondering, and it might not be necessary, but just with the tree warden now no longer falling under the park's purview, I was wondering if it might be beneficial to have a little bit more explicit language that states that it stated that the tree warden would provide lists of potential trees, potential plants, shrubs, etc. But as far as future maintenance, care, you know what I mean, of the trees, would that fall under? Where would that fall under? I think would be helpful. Would that fall under the tree warden's responsibility, or would that fall under park crew?
I'm going to say park crew. would be a better spot for if, if they're planting on our, unless there's something major or whatever. But I still would like the tree warden to review the suitable plants or trees that are going to be selected.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'm totally fine supporting this. It was just a little a nitpick that might make things a little bit clearer, just as far as understanding who's responsible for what.
Yeah, it'll fall under us.
I know the last time that we really hashed this out was really about the memorial wall. And I know it's a little bit overlap because that's included in the master plan as well. But is there an idea of a time frame for when that might be put into place? Or did I miss that? There's a lot in this.
We'll see what the new foreman brings to the table for skill set, if that's something that can be done in-house. That was always the plan for George, had the skill sets to do it. So we'll see. If we have to outsource it, it's going to be really expensive. If we can get it done in-house, we'll it'd be worth doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you had any trees donated yet?
No, not since this came up. Not since we installed the policy. We've had a few requests, and then I give the policy, and then I don't hear from them again. So.
The memorial wall is a good idea.
Yeah, it'll be.
Where were you thinking about putting?
That's on our list. Down next to the old Sheehan Field, when you instead of taking a left towards the new playground, Pavilion 1, or go straight, like right in that island area.
That's a good idea.
Okay. So if we're going to make that edit that Eric asked for, then I guess we should push this one off as terms of making a vote on it.
Well, we're not voting on this anyways tonight. This is just a draft to get back feedback, and things like that. So,
great.
Take a note and send me an email of some thoughts for corrections and changes, and then I'll rework it.
Yeah, and even with that, Paul, like if we were making a motion on that tonight, I would be comfortable making a motion with stated
with
in
an
the
adjustment.
that given that John might make an edit on the language, so we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
No, great, looks good.
All right. Anybody else have any comments on this form, the memorial policies and fees? All right, we're going to move on then. Close that one. Let me pull up into the book. Oh gosh. Okay. So this is the rental space for use of the boardwalk.
There.
John, the part in bold, is that something does that indicate what you've changed or what may have changed this year? Or is that just?
No, we just always had that kind of like one of those things to make sure people see, say with like renters are limited to 5 rentals per calendar year. It's kind of like, one of those.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully it stands out and people see that.
Yeah, I see. Nice. to notice this language here down there. So it's been a little while since we looked at this.
What are we looking at here? National Pond Boardwalk?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you, John.
Here again, I do, like somebody mentioned, I do wish we number pages when we're talking here, especially over Zoom, we know where we were.
Yeah.
Of course, there's only 2 pages.
Yeah. And if you print it front and back, it's only 1 page.
Yeah, I still want a number.
It's the only one that says boardwalk on it, too.
Oh, I've got it.
Yeah. This looked pretty straightforward to me. I don't know if anybody else had thoughts on this one here.
Fine with me.
The only change was number 18.
18?
The electricity line. Is that the only change?
Yeah, we added that last year.
Okay.
Two years ago. I think it was last year.
Okay. So, in that case, you want to move on to the next one? Anybody else have comment for this? Seems pretty inoffensive. All right, now let's look at, I noticed, John, that there were 2 documents that had some overlap. There's this one here, it's for Pulaski Park and Millside Park, and then there's another one that's for Pulaski Park alone.
Right here.
Yeah.
That is the one for Pulaski alone.
Yeah, the gazebo rental. So we have the header says one thing, but the other thing just says, straight Pulaski park usage. And then that has their, because there are differences between the 2. So I should probably change out the Pulaski Park name on that one that you're
Take it away from the mill.
Take it away from there and just put Millside.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Cross off Pulaski.
So Ron, on the there's the Pulaski and Millside Park.
Right, I got the 2.
Yeah, it should just become Millside Park, and then we'll have
All right.
the other one, the separate document that's Pulaski Park specific.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they started as one policy, then we separated them out because we went 2 different ways with how we were going to handle events at those spots.
And so which one are we doing?
Right now, this is the Millside Park. Well, one. We'll call it the Millside Park one for now.
Okay.
So again, now, are we taking reservations beginning in March for? I thought for some reason I remembered at the last meeting maybe saying that was being pushed off by a month.
That is still somewhat up in the air. I have a meeting next week with the mayor and the Board of Health. It looks like I probably will be changing. There's a directive that came out, which is on my list to talk about, that no events of over 100 people until at least May 15th. So that came out, I think, 2 days ago. So that's what I just left it in as March. First, because I'm not totally, that's just historically how it is, and I'm not totally sure, unless you're going to put a notation in there for this year, something about based on COVID-19 restrictions or something.
Yeah.
For rentals.
Okay. So
But
that
99 would be okay.
Yes. I'll have more.
Who's gonna count?
More.
One at a time.
I'll have more details and more of what our strategy is going to be moving forward after next week's conference call.
Okay.
I have a question on number 15, unless I'm interrupting in here.
No, go ahead.
I thought a while back we voted not to allow trucks or anything else into the park. Vendors. And I see here that, they can if they get a permit and everything of $25.
Yeah, $25.
Yeah, no, vendors are allowed.
Really?
Change that.
Well, when you say vendors, you mean trucks? Vendor trucks or
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
table?
food trucks are allowed. They've been up there. That chill van or bus there that sells the ices or whatever have been at a lot of events that we hold. They pay $25 every time they come to an event we have.
All right. For some reason I
Our
thought
thing
we
was
voted.
That was back years ago when we were worried about them coming into Nanotuck Park, plopping a food truck next to the Little League concession stand and trying to take away business from them. But this is events in Millside. So we have the policy set so we can control. If someone doesn't reach out, doesn't pay the $25, then we can go to our policy and say, you're not a licensed vendor to be here. You have to remove yourself. So that's why that's there.
All righty.
So there's this language in 17 that police details required for rental function and events over 25 people at Pulaski Park.
Yes.
Does that apply to Millside Park?
No. Millside is alcohol and the number of, what size the event could be. The reason it's that at the Rotary is the safety concern. If you have, 25 or more, that's a dangerous area for people to be spilling out into the street, and people start looking at the event instead of driving, and so that was our reason for that was safety for all those involved.
Okay. Well, I guess my only point then is we should probably take this off of this one if we're going to have the separate Pulaski Park specific document.
Yeah, I made note of that. Anything that has to do with Pulaski, I'll get it off of the Millside one.
All right. Okay. All right. So, is there any other comments on this guy? And we'll take a look at the Pulaski Park document next. Make sure I got it open here. There we go. All right. Let's see if I have any notes for this. No. So for you guys on the phone, we're looking at the Pulaski Park rental space rules and regulations.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty much the same as the Millside.
That's right.
Yeah, the only.
Do you have a lot of people? I was gonna say, do you have a lot of people
alcohol allowed at all at Pulaski?
Do you have a lot of people that do all three rentals each year, or who are limited because they can't?
Not so much there, but yes, at other Millside and the boardwalk, we get people asking. And the reason we have a limit is so someone without a brick and mortar building in town, a business that, is paying the overhead involved in running a business, doesn't have to compete with someone running a business on public property.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, looks fine to me, Paul.
Looks good other than that. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else here.
No.
Okay, is there any other feedback on this section?
I guess the only small thing that I might say, and this is just I'm thinking in regards of the crew and preparation, is under rules and regs. The first one, two weeks advance notice is recommended. I'm wondering if maybe we want to think about when, if 24 hours is if a minimum notice should be put in as well, 48 hours, 24 hours, whatever, just to, like I said, give the crew the opportunity to prepare whatever is necessary.
That's a good point. What do you think, John?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Just because Pulaski Park is a unique, it's not like it's a picnic rental where you're assuming people are going to show up on the day of.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
That was number one, you said?
Yeah, number one under section B.
Right.
Okay.
So what will it say now?
I'm just
At least 48 hours of notice.
Yeah.
2 weeks is recommended, but at least 48 hours notice.
Oh, okay.
48 hours.
Recommended, but yeah.
Okay. So any other comments on this section, or are you ready to move on, everybody?
Move on.
All right, let's go. Okay, next up we got cemetery fees 2021.
Oh,
Is this correct? Oh, it's just
Yeah,
naturally.
no changes.
Okay. These grade parts here, 700 and 350, is that because we changed it last year?
No, we haven't changed that in a couple of years.
Okay.
Where are you guys right now?
Cemetery fees.
Cemetery fee.
Got it. I was in Park and Recreation space for rental.
There's just one little edit, if you want. I don't know if you on that. I picked up on it.
What's
you wanna hear
that, Jim? Go ahead. Yeah.
So where it says Martin Luther King Day, it's really Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Oh,
So I mean, if you want to be real on it.
Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Good catch.
I mean, it's
And I know City Council was discussing this in the same vein, but I actually don't remember if it was fully approved. The language regarding Columbus Day versus Indigenous Peoples Day. So I wonder if, just as a clarification, John, you might want to check that out as well.
Will do.
Just because I'm curious, what was this Monument Foundation service which is no longer provided?
Years ago, way before, Ron might be able to speak to this, the cemetery will provide the foundations and footings for stones. And I don't know how long. It's been a long time since they've cemeteries done that. So it's more just kind of a FYI for people. That's why it stays in there.
Yeah, I remember when they used to do those, and then I guess it got to be too much because we didn't have the manpower, really.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And we still do the 1x2 foot markers. We pay for those and do the install for military. So if someone's buried and they want a military marker, they fill out the paperwork, give it to us. We send it down to Washington, D.C. It gets approved. A marker gets made. It gets sent back up to us, and we install it at no charge to the family.
All right. So is there any other commentary on this section?
It's good.
No, we're good. All right, let's go into cemetery rules and regulations next. I had a couple things I noticed here in section 2, John. Down in this paragraph, interment arrangements, it begins. You have the same sentence, it repeats. You have burial hours are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then you have two other sentences, and then you have, again, burial hours are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
One
I
of
saw
those
that
two
too.
can be eliminated, you know.
I'll just delete one. Or I'll have Sam delete one.
Yeah. And a very minor thing as well. Let's charge. You have a line in the preceding paragraph. There will be an additional charge of $175 per hour when it becomes necessary to work beyond 3. This charge, which will be billed directly to the funeral home. And I think you just get rid of the word which, so it just says this charge will be billed directly to the funeral home.
Okie doke.
Just for, meticulous grammar. Okay.
Number 4, that's one of my favorites here. Is there any way we can do a better sign as they come into the cemetery saying no planting of shrubs, flowers? We have a little one, I believe, don't we?
Yeah. It's on their deeds.
Yeah, but do they read them? I just thought if they could see it driving into the cemetery somewhere. This shrub thing is getting out of hand with some of the bushes there, and then when they planted all those flowers in the ground, that cost us a little money there, but I don't know. And then it says the existing bushes must be maintained by the owner. No, it says we would remove them would we try to notify the people that are?
Yeah, we've already done that.
involved?
We've been in the process of that that's been ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah, we reach out to families, and a lot of families will say, "Oh yeah, if you could take them out, take them out. We don't want to deal with them anymore."
Right.
Or they'll say, we'll do a better job caring for them. But yeah, we tagged all shrubs that said, basically contact us, and a lot of folks did, so it worked out well.
All right.
All right.
That should do it for me.
Okay. All right, any other comments for rules and regs for Brookside and East Street cemeteries? No. Okay. Go on. Okay. Have I hit all the policies that we had to go through?
Nanotuck Park. Nanotuck
Still
Park.
did Nanotuck Park.
Oh, no. Oh, maybe I didn't download that one. All right, give me a quick second.
Did we hit park and recreation space for rentals? Oh, not the park. That's what you just said, right?
Yeah, that's Nanotuck Park, yeah.
Sorry. My phone's all right. I personally have a 7-second delay.
Okay, Ron. All right, so now we're looking at the Nanotuck Park, policies and rules and regulations for 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Did it, let's see, electricity depends. Was anything changed from a year ago?
No.
Okay, looks good to me. Has anybody got any comments for this section? Or?
I'm good.
Fine.
Looks good.
Nailed it, John. Okay, so that covers the park policy portion of the packet. All right, so we have a couple edits to make, and I guess next meeting we'll did you want to do a vote and approve these so we have a record of that we've looked at it?
Yeah, if you want to, it's up to you guys. If you want to vote and approve them and put as noted edits required, or I can just make the edits and you can.
I'm comfortable
I think
with the motion to approve with the language saying that the edits as discussed.
Yeah, it's probably better.
Pretty minor stuff. So
with suggested edits. Yep.
So I guess I'll make that motion then to approve
all right.
following
Thank you, Eric.
documents we discussed.
I'll go on paper for second.
All right, Ron. All right. So motion to approve the park policies with the aforementioned edits is on the table. I guess we'll have a roll call vote. Let's start with you, Bob.
Approve.
Yay or nay? Okay, Eric?
Yes.
Yes, great. Jim
Yes.
and Ron?
Yes.
Excellent. Unanimous, I would say. Great. So on the agenda now, we have another line for budget for 2021, 2022. We covered that pretty thoroughly at the last meeting.
Yeah, since that last meeting, I had the mayor and treasurer conference call. So I wanted to give an update on that.
Excellent.
So,
What have you got for us?
I presented it, the budget to the mayor and treasurer, had a great discussion. They understand where we're coming from and what our needs are. So it went very well. We'll see what the future holds, but I'm satisfied with definitely satisfied with how the meeting went.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So let's go on. This is a good one. I'm excited to talk about the master plan. Okay. All right, so we've got the master plan pulled up for you folks on the phone. We're looking at the mission statement.
Got it.
Okay. I did notice that cognizant was not spelled correctly. But you know, I'm like that. So.
It's probably better than Ed would have spelled it.
Ed didn't know how to spell it.
So, John, just as a clarification, so the mission statement is the first paragraph, and the next two paragraphs are referring to the plan itself, or
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. So this mission statement's been in place since I've got here.
Okay.
I put that in place there.
Just for formatting purposes, just to make it a little bit clearer when reading, I'm wondering if you could just separate those out a little bit more, just so it's not.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
I got it. I knew you were going with it.
Ha.
Other than that, this is a nice little summary of what we're about to read. So we're going to move on to the next page. Okay. This document could use some page numbers, probably, to be fair.
Well, yeah,
We'll call this
you
page
guys
not-
have the draft version, and it doesn't have the pictures and the diagrams and all the fancy little stuff. What you're seeing is, what is it, 7 or 8 pages, whatever. But if you could see my binder here, if you can, it's probably, the master plan has probably got about 300 pages worth of information in there.
Wow.
So what I wanted to do with this was, for every section, all the backup documentation, whether it's studies or an open space plan or whatever it was, I gathered up everything I had in files, made copies, and so behind every, like the Nanotuck Park pool renovation, there is, there's probably 50 pages of documentation regarding the pool and the renovations and what we need. And it's similar with most of the stuff that's in here. So you guys got like the Cliff Notes version, for discussion tonight. My goal was to get you guys thinking about adding anything, taking anything out, ideas or what have you with this, and see where we want to go with it. You know, like I said, it's a draft. It's going to take some revising and some editing, things like that, over the next month or month and a half, 2 months, whatever it is.
So one formatting thing I think that would be helpful for the document is in each section. You know, we're on the Nanotuck Park Pool Renovation section. There's the Green Initiative. Included in each section were some target dates as far as when these projects would be either begun or completed. Again, with the understanding that, you know, it's not going to be set in stone, right at the top, you know, it's dependent on funding, but just to have some sort of sense as far as what, for the reader, what they can expect and when approximately.
Just a few years.
That's, you know, the document itself is a 7-year plan. A lot of that stuff I can just take from so like that Nanotuck Park pool renovation, the capital plan outlines our funding initiatives for that. So I can just take what our capital plan says and put it in for each of these bigger items and use that as the timeline.
Great.
So, I mean, I might be wrong, but this one seems to be the real big cost as far as this document goes. Now, the pool renovation. I mean, that's $1.6 million. It seems crazy to me for a pool, but also I don't know anything about how much pools cost. So maybe that's a 4. You know, it's just
pretty cheap actually, Paul, considering the size of that pool and the age of it.
You know?
Yeah, so you know, some of these numbers are just gathered from you know, talking with some experts in the field, talking with other communities that have done pool project renovations, and I always try to be on the higher side on numbers than the lower side for contingency. So that I don't know if that's really on this one. I think it's probably in the 1.5 million range for a complete renovation.
What the heck would it cost for a whole new pool?
We could blow that one up and move. George and I talked about that, blowing that one up and doing a new pool next to it on the old Coughlin field. And I think that's probably $2 to $3 million.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, because that one already has the hole.
Yes.
And they would put the synthetic liner right over the cement that we have in there now, right?
That's what I'd want. Yeah, I think I've been out to several facilities, this rental system, and I was out to the Reebok corporate office years ago and looking at them put down. You know, it's not like your home pool liner you'd have at home where you'd make it 5. This is 25, 30 years of hard industrial use. It's expensive, but it would go right over the concrete, solve a lot of our leaking issues that has with the gaps in the seams.
John, I'm curious about the 50% of the pool fencing replacement. Why only 50%?
Because we already did 50%.
The remaining 50% has to be replaced down the road or not that far away either way. Anyway, you know, so I guess that's what I'm wondering.
It's the 50% of it's brand new already.
Oh, okay.
So it was going to be way too expensive to do the whole pool fencing. when we actually had a few bucks to kick around for it. So we did as far as we could do, which was 50% of it.
All right. How hard is it going to be to move toward a feasibility study? What has to be done for this? Because I know this is this has been a long talked about need.
That's one of the topics I have with the mayor next week.
Great.
We're going to try to really push forward through with that this year.
Excellent.
If there's anything that we can do to help move that along, of course, I'm sure we'd like to.
Yeah, when we get towards like the CPA, if we're using CPA funds, or so that's we're looking to get feasibility study for the fall.
Okay.
Cool. Great. Yeah, and this is the pool is a textbook use of CPA fundage, in my opinion. Funding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on. Yeah.
It's the gem of the park.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big draw.
Absolutely.
All right. Everybody good with this page?
Generates a lot of
You want to
revenue.
move on, or you want to?
No,
All right.
I'm all set.
All right. So now we're looking at the stone house bathroom. Yes, a omnipresent agenda item that this is. Okay. I was surprised at how affordable this project is projected out to be after having read how expensive the pool was projected out to be.
Yeah, this project, we've actually we did some work already and contracted out, so we've got pretty good numbers. And just when the pandemic hit, I was in discussions with the PC they actually gave me a price to move forward on getting that building into the historical registry for the state, which opens up a lot of funding opportunities. And then it all kind of hit the fan, and we weren't sure what we'd have for revenues, and we weren't spending anything. And so that was put on a holding pattern. I think it still sort of is. We don't have money kicking around to pay for that, but that is something that also needs to be the first step of the process.
But it looks like a good plan. I love that.
It costs us $5,000 to have it a historical designation.
Yeah, to do all the research and do all there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of filing with the state. There's a lot that goes into it.
Wow.
And the woman I was discussing it with, she kind of specializes in this type of work. So that's what you want, someone who knows the ins and outs of getting a building in that designation.
Is your name Eleanor?
All right. Any other comments on this page? We've got a few to get to. All right, I'm going to move on. We'll go to. Oh, good. We've got a combined one. Of course, the new maintenance building. I'm really glad to see that here, and it seems a very affordable thing to do. I hope that we can do this quickly because the maintenance building we have is just really, really rough. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, the newest was yesterday's melting. That there was actually a 2-inch flowing river in the building.
Wow.
They had opened up the garage door, it literally, all the melting from Daly Field
Wow.
in the road, everything melted, went through the bathroom, through the building, out the garage door, and into the drainage. Those guys did take a nice video for me that they're going to send me. I talked to them today, so I will have that as part of a photo array of what those guys have to deal with. So I think it speaks for itself when you have employees that work for the city that have to have working conditions like that. It's not healthy.
That's why when you interviewed for the job, I asked if you had boots.
I know. And they said it was worse than ever this past yesterday. It was the worst river they've ever seen. And Dan goes back a lot of years as well.
John, is this part of the capital plan as well?
Yes.
Great. Do you happen to know offhand what the schedule might be for this?
Yeah, you can continue on. I'll get you that in a minute or two.
Okay. All right.
Next fiscal year, FY 2023.
Excellent. Okay.
Next fiscal year, this one, 2023. For the
Could be worse. All right. So the idea of the Nanotuck Park entrance change. I wonder what kind of response this will drum up from the community. My personal thought is I think it sounds really it makes sense. I don't know what do you guys think about this? Switching the traffic, you flow?
I would make it both in and out both ways. I mean, that's the best way.
There's some constrictions there with the playground being right there. It's a tight intersection. This was on was one of the first park grants that back when Stu was here that we worked on together 11 years ago to get this entrance straightened out. So it's been an ongoing thought and concern about safety of pedestrians and bikers and walkers and cars and everybody entering and exiting the park with crossing traffic. And the toll booth has been hit many times through the years. Thank God no one's been in there when it's been hit, but it's been hit many times. So
there once when it was hit, John.
This is a project would have to be public hearings, that kind of stuff. When you start talking about changing traffic flows, there's a lot that would have to go into it. So the council would have to be involved, the neighborhood, everything. So, but
it makes so much more sense, I feel like, to have people, you're turning into the park and you're taking a right turn to go down in, and you're not having to cross any cross traffic, and then leaving the park, you're taking right turns all the way out, not crossing any cross traffic.
Exactly.
Easy, natural flow. It just, it's like beautiful.
and if there's a line, it's not being backed up in front of people's houses, which I've run into a few times.
Right.
Yeah, when you're entering the park, I mean, you can put basically 100 cars in there before you'd have a backup out into the street. Unlike opening day of Little League, where they're all the way around and almost back to the Payson Ave.
Yeah, this might be one of those things where we have the public hearing and all of the people from Williston Avenue come and they love it.
But then you got the other streets where the entrance is now going to be.
Yeah, but
technically it's the same amount of people coming and going.
Same amount of people just going in a different direction. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same amount of people coming and going. There's no difference.
And they have other options of streets to come down too. There's 5 different ways to get in from the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 ways.
Okay. So
Just need to
I
think
was
about
really
you need
excited
to
to
think
see
about
this.
signage, though, for like changing it, like signage, like down on Williston
Oh,
and
yeah.
down on Parsons.
Oh, yeah, that's actually in this document too. Way signs.
Yeah, it's a little further down, right?
Oh,
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see that.
signage. There needs to be an awareness campaign for weeks and months. Those
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, some people
Okay,
on
so-
some people on Hisgen Avenue went around that area were upset because they thought we would make Hisgen Avenue all the way up from Garfield one way. But John assured me that they wouldn't. It'd only be from what the heck was it? Taft Avenue? Yeah.
It would only be from inside the park gates. It'd
Right.
be park gate to park gate.
Yeah, so that wouldn't affect them at all.
No, it wouldn't affect any of the neighborhood streets.
You just almost shut it off.
Yeah, I'm concerned with the people going on Lowndes Ave. They're not going to know until they hit the gate. There's no way. I mean, it used to be a 2-lane road back in the 60s and 70s, and somewhere in the 80s, I think it got changed to one way.
What, the park road itself? Daily Field
Yeah,
Road?
you could always go back in the, I'm talking, yes, 60s, 70s, and probably early 80s. You could go in and out Hisgen and in and out Lowndes.
Yeah, I can't. I don't see how any way there'd be a two-lane road the way it is currently.
I don't think it'd be wide enough. I think you need a minimum.
No,
of
there's no
20
way it'd be wide enough.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And how are you going to keep track of that with the tolls, even if it were wide enough? I mean, that seems like it.
Yeah, well, the booth is going into the middle up to Nanotuck.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
booth is-
Yeah, that's true.
The booth won't be on that road.
Right. Okay. But still,
The booth
not wide enough.
becomes an island.
Yes.
but just to avoid the cross traffic,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'll make the traffic move so much easier and quicker and less chance for accidents to happen. This is a great idea. It's a great plan. It doesn't seem like it's very expensive. You said this has been being talked about for a while, years.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Years. A decade.
preventing this from moving forward? What's the roadblock?
We've money. We've applied for a few park grants. I tried to get it into the Mass DOT grant during this pandemic when the money was being talked about. I was trying to get our entrance included in that because we added the new bike path, bike lane that enters the park. We added new crosswalks right there at the entrance, and I fought for it, and it didn't make the cut. But my thing was that we're providing a new walkway and bike lane entering the park, and we're dumping it into the most dangerous intersection, as far as I'm concerned, in the city during the summertime.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay.
We need more speed bumps then.
All right. So let's move on. The Nanotuck Park Treehouse Playground. I can picture it in my mind. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, not very expensive.
Yeah, that was one of George's things he wished we could have got done while he was still here. Adding fence, and there's no fencing around it. Adding the asphalt inner circle for walking and connectivity to the play structures, and then just parking in general. We are, lacking parking so much in the summertime that even adding 15 spots could really help out a lot in that area.
So is there some reason why they picked the Treehouse Playground? Because here I am thinking, off of Button Road. I know where it is. But...
Because the main structure is a treehouse.
Thank you for the clarification, John. All right, let's move on to the next page if there's no more comments on the Nanotuck Park Treehouse Playground. All right, so the memorial donation wall. I'm guessing this is a more thorough part of the plan when you have all the pictures in the packet that your 300-page document.
Yep.
All right. Okay, that's great. We already have the policy in place.
Yes.
All right. Anybody have any thoughts on the connectivity of a trail system into and through the park?
They're going to have to change the Whitebrook Middle School name. I think didn't they call it something different now? The new school, Whitebrook is dead.
Yeah, well, whatever it has to be. If that name has to be changed when that comes across, we'll change it.
Is it a Mountain View or something?
So the trail system this is a planning department's initiative that they've been pushing really hard towards, connecting the park with the schools. We're on board as well. The schools, the high school obviously connects in, but the Whitebrook, it's basically just a wooded trail system, but actually putting an access trail that would connect for when kids are walking, to the park after school, or when the school does use the park for events and field days and things like that, there's access, and being able to combine more bike lanes that connect back to the rail trail itself, and trying to get the rail trail connected to the park is a big piece of it too.
That'd be really good.
FYI, the name of the
This
school
is something.
Mountain View.
Mountain View?
Mountain View School.
To me, this is something we can put more on the back burner for now compared to all of our other needs.
Yeah,
really.
this is in here because when the planning department goes for funding, they can position it as well as saying this is in the master plan of the park as well. So if there's state funding available, it just gives it a little more bite that we've talked about it and we're on board with that. This is not going to be a funding opportunity or expense for us to have this done. This is going to be done at the planning department's level to do the funding, to get funding for a project like this.
It can come up in other years since we have 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds great, John. Let's talk about the ADA equipment. 4 park playgrounds, 2 park playgrounds. So you did a self-assessment in 2020, and any additional playground expansion or construction will include ADA-approved equipment, but it won't be exclusively ADA-approved equipment, but it will include portions, or does that mean exclusively ADA-approved equipment?
No, we want to make sure we're adding, anytime we, if there's any expansion or any new playgrounds being built, we want to make sure that ADA equipment is included in the construction. So this is kind of just to make sure if we have any neighborhoods or anything that potentially could come through regarding playground expansion, that we have to be cognizant of making sure we have ADA equipment. Because it was definitely one, that process was about a 40-page review I had to do of all park properties, pool, pavilions, picnic, everything that had to do with the park had to do with the ADA assessment. And I feel we do have some ADA equipment at the Nanotuck Park Treehouse Playground. But if there's going to be expansion, we got to include more. We got to add more.
Would there be any money or grants available to help out?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so talking about the Parsons Street play area and community garden.
John, that's the street I live on. John, that's the street I live on. So I have to nitpick. It's Parsons and not Parson.
Parsons, you got it.
Damn it, Parsons.
So what would the community garden look like?
That we'd work with the Easthampton community garden folks, but it would be for folks in that neighborhood who might not have big lawns or anything like that. Basically parcel it out like they do with community gardens, and folks could plant their vegetables, flowers, things like that, and use that space. That space doesn't get used enough, and I think my personal thought, and I've always talked to the guys about it, and we've always kind of agreed on this, is it would be a great asset to that area to add a community garden for the neighborhood.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. Like I said, I live a block away from it, and that's always been really underutilized space. And it's the most densely populated part of the town, so it makes perfect sense. It feels a great need. So thank you.
I think it'd be great for that neighborhood.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Outstanding. All right, so green space behind the old Parsons Street School. Let's talk about that. Currently it's paved. It's not used for anything. That, if I'm thinking about it, that's the portion obviously the city still owns. I was not aware that that was under the, I guess, purview of the Parks Department.
It's not. But there's been talk for years when they finally got rid of the school for the condos or apartments or whatever over there, that what to do with that space. And at some point I would think that there's going to be a push for some kind of green space or playground or something in that area. And as soon as you say green space, playground, it'll fall on us, no doubt. So this is kind of just to make sure that we are in the loop on anything. If it is something that's going to be done at a city level, that we're involved in the construction phase to at least have a say of what's happening over there.
And John,
I think there's going to be a push in the next couple of years, a real hard push for something in that area in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Councilors Gomez, Rothschild, and Flood actually held a community meeting on that space this past fall, talking about this very topic, about how how creating a green space for the community, and the Parks Department was mentioned very thoroughly throughout it. So I think they're partners. I want to say particularly Councilor Gomez, seeing it's his district, would be very much in favor of moving forward with the department on this. So thank you again.
I like it. I think it's a great spot. It makes sense.
Yeah, something's got to be done.
I love
there.
the idea
It can't just be a parking lot or a rundown parking lot.
I love the idea of tearing up the parking lot and putting in paradise.
I see what you did there.
Does that count as an old man joke yet? I don't know.
Yeah,
Nope.
not that bad.
Nope.
It's close.
All right.
No, because I don't think Bob understands it.
I understand only my wife.
She's laughing.
All right.
He doesn't understand me, so.
Oh, God, no.
All right. So, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about the wayfinding signage downtown. I do think it's important. I've been in some other places and other committees in town where wayfinding signage has come up. I know that the city has gone after some wayfinding grants. Sometimes we get them, but there is a real opportunity for helping people navigate to our parks. The only comment that I would have is I know it's not necessarily wayfinding, but I do feel like some of the signage in the cemeteries, especially the one on Williston, it's pretty rough. And if there's any way to include kind of a replacement of some of the old, like, beaten down or faded or whatever signage in any parts of this, I think that we should look for opportunities there if we can attach that on to like a wayfinding, grant seeking.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially, and that goes right hand in hand with the bilingual signage as well.
So one point about
the cemetery.
One point about the bilingual signage, when that begins to start happening, John, that I'd like to just bring up. It's wonderful. I think it's important. It'd be an important investment for the department to hire a professional translator to do the translations and to write up the bilingual signage. I only say that because just in past experiences, translating services like Google Translate, on one hand, they're wonderful. On another hand, they're woefully inaccurate and actually don't really translate very well at all. So I think it'd be really important for us to make sure that accuracy is part of the signage.
Yeah, I would agree. We certainly don't want to put something up that we think says one thing and then it doesn't. And,
Right.
And especially when it comes to pricing rules, things like that, we want to make sure. Yeah, I agree. So that's a good call.
Okay. So let's keep going. The tree management program for the park seems pretty common sense. Our park trees.
Yeah, we had an unpaid tree management program for 30 plus years with George.
Yeah. So the cost estimate of $5,000 a year. I mean, is this still something that would be done in house? What does that buy us?
Well, to give an example, the tree that's down on the basketball courts currently, that one tree is $5,000 to have it removed.
I believe.
So this, it's, our guys, this is outside of in-house stuff that can be done. The guys, they worked away at that tree and got most of the smaller limbs and everything cleared away. Now it's just the big, heavy lifting. I got someone else coming out next week to give me a price on it as well to see if we can get that done for cheaper. But we had 2 trees fall, one on roadside that fell onto the basketball court, and then the other one from the opposite side that crushed the fence of the basketball court as well. So we had 2 different tree incidents this year, just in that area, not to mention throughout the park. So trying to stay ahead of it where we can identify things that need to be pruned and make sure or anything that needs to be removed and try to stay ahead of the game. And once again, it goes to our philosophy of providing a safe park. So, not every tree you can identify, but, if there's things there's an issue, we have to make sure we're identifying and removing. And we'll work with the new, tree warden. And, I had a 20-minute talk with the old tree warden today. So he's still around and available for insight on that. So I think we can still use his knowledge moving forward on this part of it.
All right. So a green initiative. I'm interested, especially in the part of creating a trash in, trash out policy. I wonder if that's...
Yeah, right now we have like Millside is a household trash in, and we remove trash out. It's bad over there. Some other areas, a lot of communities are going, especially the bigger ones, trash in, trash out, and there's no trash cans there unless you're having events. Other than that, it's you're going to have a picnic or sit down and have your sandwich at lunch and a drink. When you're done, take it with you, and right whether you came from work or home, whatever, bring it back home. It's one of the biggest issues in the summertime for the guys is Mondays are crazy from the weekends, and they could spend, no exaggeration, 4 to 6 hours, and that's at least 2 guys just doing trash runs throughout the city, just on our properties. It is a huge undertaking during the summertime. So this is one of the things, as we, consider to, continue to be a green community and look for ways, we have to start looking at ways where we can try to help reduce especially the amount of waste that goes on of just tossing or filling up a garbage bag and dumping it in one of our trash cans off-site.
Well, and this is no disrespect to any of the organized sports leagues that utilize our facilities, but I mean, let's be honest, they are some of the biggest producers of recyclable trash that does not get recycled. Way back 20 years ago when I worked on the crew, it was always very frustrating to be doing one of those trash runs and you pick up a barrel and it's literally filled with empty soda bottles that could have been recycled. So I think I guess I'm of the belief that Little League and soccer should really be also working very, very proactively with us on this.
Yeah, and that's I know they tried a few years ago, and that's one of the things I'm going to relay to them this year and moving forward, is to make sure they're putting out, their own blue recycle for plastic bottles, things like that, and try to buy into what we're looking to do. So that is definitely on the radar for this year.
It would be interesting to know, maybe you do know, or maybe we can find out if the communities that have done that kind of thing, if they've eliminated trash cans, how much more are they seeing people just leaving their trash on the ground or anywhere, or are the kind of people who would use the trash can still the kind of people who would just take it away with them as they go? Because obviously there are some people who you can put like 30 trash cans next to them and they'll still put their trash on the ground.
Yeah,
You know.
that's true. Yeah, so I haven't heard too many communities going back to trash cans after they've gone. This is very popular in the eastern part of the state, this green initiative, especially around, the water, areas, those communities. So, it's going to be a long process, but we have to start it at some point to get people, there's a generation that's gone, that's not gonna be looking to do this. But if like we say, we get the kids in the sports leagues and the younger kids involved and looking to do this, and then that's the next generation that's going to be more green conscious than the previous. It's like seatbelts. It took 40 years for people to finally get a generation that actually throws them on as soon as they get in the car. But you have to start somewhere, and I think I think it should be upon us to make sure we're at least starting the process and getting folks thinking about it and hopefully utilizing it.
We need Hootie the Owl back.
That's right.
Give a hoot, don't pollute.
That's right.
All right. So let's go on to Pleasant Green basketball courts. I definitely see where you're going with the Millside Park. If we can eliminate that half court, that would really open up that area for.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good.
And that's another thing that would be good for that section of town, to add, just having to go to a full-size basketball court, they have to come all the way to the park. So I think it's a no-brainer to get rid of that half size and have that over there.
Agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I noticed there's no cost put onto that or anything like that. I'm guessing this is a further down the road kind of long-term goal.
Yeah, it's roughly around. I have numbers that I've submitted to the CPA on this. So when I do projects, we have our capital improvement capital plan that I submit, but also I submit to the CPA, and usually every 2 or 3 years, some of the projects that we might be coming to look for money from them, and that's on there, and it's roughly around 100,000, give or take for that.
That's
and I think that's a good number based on the pickleball court. We got done for like 65,000, and the basketball court's slightly bigger, more fencing. Hoops are more expensive, so I think 100,000 is a pretty good number on that.
All right, there's no more comment. Let's go look at staffing. I see you are advocating for some new positions.
Yeah, I think, this is kind of being proactive. If we're going to start seeing some more projects put forth, like the Mount Tom Trailhead project, if we see, behind Parsons Street School, if we see a green space or a playground there, there's a lot of things that have been added to the plate through the years, and this is a position, and Ron and actually Jim, Bob, they could go. This was a position that was actually in the budget like 12 or 13 years ago. and it was eliminated and it never came back. So there was always 3 39-week positions. And just before, a couple years before I came aboard, that position was cut and it has not been given back. So, we keep adding more to take on. We have to make sure we're getting the staffing to equate to what we have to deal with.
Okay. So they cut the maintenance and then they add all of these amenities.
Yes, that's been the
It's kind of like
story through the years. I mean,
Easthampton City Hall tune.
We've worked. It's not like the old days. They used to, do ball fields by hand. They'd use push mowers, and there'd be, 5 employees out there. We're able to work more efficiently. We have better equipment. So there isn't the need of these overstaffing. But as we're basically, especially losing George. I always considered him a staff and a half. We're at the breaking point. If we're going to keep adding more, we're going to have staff offset the additional work we have.
Could I ask about with this offsite? You're on the offsite, and I just noticed on the improvement stuff, it stopped at like basketball for Pleasant Green, basketball for Parsons Street. Would there be the Plain and Strong? Was that just omitted, or that's an off-site project too, as far as basketball?
Yeah, we did have that on there for a while, didn't we?
Yeah, I was hoping to get that back on.
Yeah, I will add that.
On a wish list there anyway.
Yeah, it should be on there because it was on our wish list, and that was my fault for moving off of that. If anybody objects to adding it, please let me know, but that was something that we talked about years ago for that neighborhood as well.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just one of those wish list items that we've always talked about. If we could add something down to that area as well.
It's just dirt now and a few trees, but next to the playground.
Yeah.
But
Okay, let's keep going.
To take care of the neighborhood out this way.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of the bigger position to create a program director position here.
Yeah. So one of the things I've always talked about, and it's always been kicked around, like with say the basketball EBA, they would go through presidents and board and shifting roles, and why doesn't the parks take it over? And if I've always said, if we can take over programs, sports programs, at least one of them would make sense to have a program director. That way we would have, that would also serve as the Camp Nanotuck director, so that person would be, say in charge of, say if youth soccer ever, they dissolve and they need administrative support or the department to take it over. It is not something that we could do with current staffing and current structure, but most communities and all the communities I've been involved in have always had a program director, and the rec department has been in charge of Most of the sports leagues, usually football would be their own, but youth, soccer, baseball, basketball would all fall under the recreation department, and there'd be a program director in charge of that. And then you incorporate the camps in that as well. So this is something that just will whatever happen, who knows? But if volunteers start going on the way, and start losing interest, and it's a plan in place if we ever move forward with this.
Okay. I also noticed the line that this person would also plan, create, and assist with park and city special events throughout the year.
Yeah, so that would be, it wouldn't be just sports programs, but it would assist with Harvest Fest, or if there's other events, whether it's our movie nights, but if there's other events that other departments are looking to do, cultural chaos, for instance, maybe them, if we start, we've talked, Paul, about, you brought up the idea of, out of this pandemic of trying to partner with other departments and community agencies and doing some more fun stuff for the community, and that's kind of the idea with that as well. We'd have someone that would be on site, day of, and assist, and it would be the face of helping with those types of events. So that would all be part of the job of the program director.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have any comments about this? Either of these positions? Any other comments?
Seems like a good wish list.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go down to, I think this is the last page. Yep. And this is the Park Ranger Program. For those of you who are on the call who don't know, this is something that I had asked John about, and this idea that we could expand, kind of our park security and do a park ranger program for younger people, maybe college students, people that need to get maybe some job training, that they would be able to help with the overall functioning of the park, help maintain it. They would serve as goodwill ambassadors to the city, help people find where they're going. Could also do things like if there are things going on in the park, they could diffuse situations. Possibly if there was anything that was horrible happening in the park, they would be there to be a supplementary presence, or could, contact the police department and be like, hey, we've got a situation here that, needs to be addressed. And so this is John had told me, maybe Ron or Jim know more, that we used to have a park ranger program in Easthampton, like back in the 80s or 70s, and they're all like shotgun toting and, which is not kind of what we're envisioning now. But, and another thing that I think would be really important in a program like this would be to specifically put a focus on securing bilingual staff, because we have so many diverse people coming into the parks, and that we should really be able to, communicate with anybody and everybody who's using our parks. So I'm curious to know everybody's thoughts on this.
I like it. Ranger Ron? Yeah, that's good.
I finally agree.
C.
So Paul and I, you and I discussed this a few weeks ago, and on you know, on one hand, I think it's a great idea in theory. And I think it's one of the important roles that the park department has played over the years has been in providing opportunities for young people to not just have employment, but also to learn and to grow, be it working for Camp Nanotuck, be it working for the park crew. There's a bit of language in this as it is currently in the master plan that I'm quite uncomfortable with. I don't see this park ranger position as being an extension of law enforcement in the least bit. I don't see it as being something that should be a supplemental in-house security. And even specifically in the areas of funding, I think if we're going to be pursuing grants from the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, or the EPD are all completely not the areas that we should be securing funding for. If we're looking at it from an environmental protection perspective, I'm completely on board. But if this is something where we're looking to have, for lack of a better term, junior police in the park, I cannot support this.
I agree with what you're saying, Eric. I do think environmental protection is important. I know I was reading through the state, they have some language about park rangers being able to do environmental protection, even issue citations, and even go as far as like if there's like illegal dumping going on. Some park department, not that I think ours would do this, but even being able to like seize vehicles that were like legally dumping and stuff like that, probably some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, see, I don't see that as our role in the least bit. I don't see that as part of the park.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I think I think what we also need to keep in mind with this is that we're talking about young people. They're, you know, late teens or college age students, and the amount that we can ask them to do is only so limited as well.
Yeah, it's not like having the Central Park Police.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, I would not be looking for them to be issuing citations or fulfilling law enforcement duties. You know, it's more job training if they're looking for a position. Whether it doesn't, it could be, you know, it could be security position, it could be law enforcement, it could be you know,
fish cop.
But I mean,
yeah, you know, it could be anything. It could be wanting to get involved and be a park and rec director. You know, whatever their interests may be. You know, so
I applaud that, but I mean, it is explicitly stated in this proposal, like law enforcement is part of it, as something that this position would be. Part of, and that's not something that I'm comfortable with.
Maybe put the word shadow.
In what context?
Or they're not doing cop work. They're just doing
No.
I sort of agree with Eric, actually. You know how our regular security gets, you know, people that get in their face and everything and give them a hard time. I could see them doing that to younger kids too. You know, and if they don't have any authority really, but I could see people getting on their cases, and I'm just not thrilled with it really.
I mean, I feel like to have
they'd be working when security's on staff. They wouldn't be left on their own. It'd be a 2 security detail. You know.
Yeah, I think a lot of this language should be adjusted. But I do think, like, when we have large events, having park rangers there, it's not so much even about security as about, like, you know, helping people find where they need to go and helping, like, you know, maintain the operations, make sure the gates are open and closed and all that stuff and everything's running, you know, and taking a role in that way makes sense to me.
See, I'm seeing a ranger as being someone who ties in directly with the green initiative, as being someone who perhaps has a science background, things like, you know, soil testing or water testing, taking the lead on the environment, on the recycling initiative. I mean, that's truly what I think when we're talking about a park ranger, as someone who will enhance the green space in the park, not as someone who is another person in a uniform.
Oh, I love that. John, what do you think?
I mean, I see shadowing anyone. I think they should be shadowing I think they should be with the park crew, not the park security.
No, I definitely disagree with that. If they're going to be with the park crew, they're going to be digging ditches and mowing lawns. I can't afford. My thought is if they're going to look at, and that's fine if you make it an environmental piece, but we have to get younger in security. You know, we have to look at ways to get younger people employed on all types of jobs. But you know, the security, you know, they're up there, and you know, as many times as I post that position, we're not seeing any changes. You know, and when the ones we have are, I mean, they do a good job. You know, I always say, you know, park security is more like, you know, Walmart greeter, you know, park Walmart greeter. We want them to be, you know, informative, helping people out, you know, letting them know if they need help with anything, directions. You know, I tell the guys, your job is not to, you know, bust chops or get in confrontation. It's to assist
public safety
with the experience of the park. And whatever the wording has to be, I would like to see some younger folks shadowing and helping assist
learning the role
in the park. So I whatever you want to change the wording out, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. But it's having you know, a new generation come in and help welcome folks and be around to assist.
I totally am on board with that. It just, the way it is phrased right now and the way it's proposed right now is really inconsistent with a lot of the other initiatives that we have lined up. We're talking about being more inclusive. We're talking about bilingual signage. We're talking about green initiatives. It doesn't, you know, a position that is in part funded by the Department of Homeland Security potentially, and might have to follow along with Homeland Security stipulations, is completely just not consistent with everything else that we're putting forward.
What age bracket are you talking, John?
Well, I mean, you really can't put an age bracket on it, but you know, the goal would be to start seeing some college, you know, post high school, college age. I don't even have to be college, in college, just that type of younger generation to get in here and start you know, provide
they got a driver's license. If they got a driver's
type
license,
of services that help what we're looking to do here.
I do think having even just the word Homeland Security that's a flashpoint, you know. Yeah, I mean, we could take the whole thing out. It doesn't matter to me. That's why it's on there. You know, it's this is being for discussions.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if we want to just say just not call it a park ranger program and just say add more security, or more, you know, park welcomers or whatever you want to call them. I don't care what kind of flowery name we put on it, but you know, I think I agree with Paul. Looking to get more of a younger generation in here would be a good thing.
Yeah, and it's yeah.
And
I
reaching
agree
out to
with
the
that.
colleges was one of the things of reaching out to like Westfield and the local colleges and see what types of opportunities we can provide for youth.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is something that maybe
On the last page.
for the time being, maybe we take this off the plan, but not something that goes away entirely. This is something that we discuss further. Because like I said, as it is written right now, I don't feel good about it, but I do think there's a lot of potential for it to be a good thing. But I don't want to just throw the whatever out with the whatever.
Yeah, it has potential, you know, for somebody to know what goes on down there. If they're getting into that, they want to get into that line of work. Also,
Yeah, I mean, we could take it off for the full year and look at it next January and come up with a better potential funding sources and a better lack of a better job description, for a lack of a better term, you know.
Okay.
I don't know that. I guess I feel like park rangers, you know, part like of their job is definitely being a part of park security. I see them as being, you know, working with the park security that we have now to an extent. You know, I don't see park rangers like arresting people, obviously, but you know.
that's what they are at the state parks. They have the power to write tickets, but they have the EPOs around too.
This wasn't something that's going to get done this year anyway. So, like I said, when we can beat this thing to death, you know, we can table it, take it off, and look at it, you know, more in the future.
I mean, I personally,
I'm not seeing a big need for more security or welcomers coming. This I think we're going to be somewhat close to, you know, probably 75% of what we are normally used to for park activities and things this year.
Yeah.
If we're lucky.
Let's take advantage of that time to really, you know, write this out and develop it to something that is going to be positive and inclusive for all.
Wow, man.
All right. So let's work on this and see if we can come up with something that makes more sense for us, and we'll move forward on that in a later time.
Thank you, and thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding my perspective.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and thank you for, you know, yeah.
Can you repeat everything you said, Eric?
So Paul, what I made notes here is what I'm going to do is I'll do up a summary of changes for this master plan instead of redoing the whole master plan and sending it out to everybody. Just doing a summary like spelling and some other things. So if there's anything that needs to you guys see or needs to be changed, or if there's anything that I'll give you a couple of weeks to get back to me, and then so I'll look at like March 1st to make the changes and do like kind of an executive summary of the changes for that, and then hand that out for next meeting.
All right. So do we want to set a date for the next meeting, or just have it the third Wednesday of next month? It will also be the 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
think we should look at a different day.
Do you want to do a Monday?
Yeah, whatever. We could do it the 17th. I was just kidding. Whatever works. It's not like we're going to be going out and about it.
Not like you're going to a bar in March.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never celebrated
That Monday the 15th is fine with me.
Oh, you're serious?
I'm okay. I'm used to the 17th. Well, whatever. I'm used to the
Doesn't
third
matter.
Wednesday.
Whatever.
Does anybody have an issue with the 17th? With
No.
St. Patrick's Day? Eric?
Like,
Paul?
you're going to interrupt my corned beef and cabbage dinner that I get every year. I can have it before our meeting.
Jim, is Monday an issue?
during the meeting.
I'm not sure. Well, that's March, so I haven't found out if we're starting up our Buick World again. I mean, that's what our meetings are, the third Monday of the month.
Oh.
But I don't know if we're going to get together or not. We'll probably wait till April. So if need be, we can do
What about the 16th?
Tuesday the 16th found me. I don't know. Whatever.
That's pre-St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day's Eve.
Right.
Well, Bob wouldn't be able to do Tuesday because I need the computer for a meeting I got Tuesdays.
We'll plan on the 17th and I'll reach out to everybody.
Do your thing. 15th is good with me.
That's good with me.
Monday's okay for us.
Yeah, I don't say much, but I listen.
We'll do.
No, get your corned beef. It's once a year.
I'll check on the 15th.
Okay.
And then the only other thing, Paul, was just that I gave everybody a copy of the open space in letter. So that's just an FYI for everybody, because last meeting you gave me the approval to write it, but so everybody had got to look at it on that.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure. Do we need a vote for me to sign that? I mean, I think it
was all set for last meeting. Yeah. So you're going to sign that.
Okay.
I just want everybody to have a copy. So you're going to sign that and then scan it and get it to me, and I'll send it off.
All right, I'll get to that to you tomorrow.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. That's everything.
Well, if that's it, well, thanks, guys. If there's a motion on the floor.
That's Ron's job.
That's right. Any old business or anything? I have a question. They're having these down at the complex there. They applied for $1,600 for stuff for shows they want to put on down there. I mean, I think we really got to make sure they don't, go against us on Friday nights or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Down at the Payson Street there. The complex, they have people out in the parking lot.
Oh, they're doing the
Yeah,
concerts in the spring. They're doing Friday night concerts. Out behind Payson. Yeah, we want to make sure that it overlap with our concerts in Millside Park.
Yeah. I'll check on what their dates and time frames they're looking at. We're not going to have many shows this year. We don't have any money, and we're not asking any businesses for money. So we're probably, if we have shows, we're looking at 4 shows this year. I've already gave Sam the dates. I'm not even sure. We're going to book them contingent upon COVID regulation restrictions, but that's part of one of the questions I'll have for the mayor is, because I know some other events, bigger events are not going to be happening. So, we're going to book and contingent upon whether we can have them.
How about long-term ahead thinking Rag Shag or Pumpkin Fest?
Yeah, hopefully. But we'll look at that later in the summer.
Okay.
What about movie
We
nights?
ready?
Movie nights, yeah, so we're going to try to do 1 or 2 movie nights as well.
Great.
So that's the plan.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Motion to adjourn is on the floor. Let's take a vote.
Bob
Bob?
always seconds it.
I'll second it. Don't say I didn't do something.
Sorry, Eric.
I'll take your
Now
ballot.
we're all on paper.
All right. So Bob actually seconds this. All right, we're going to do a roll call vote. Yay or nay? Bob?
Yep,
Eric?
I second it.
No, you said
Jim?
he's taking a vote now.
Yeah, yeah, close it.
Jim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Great. And Ron?
Bye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody, and see you in
All
a
right, everybody
month's
stay
time,
safe.
or possibly 2 days before a month's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will check on the dates with the city to make sure they're available.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Stay safe, everyone.